Alright, question 10. We've got this dice game. We can roll a dice, a fair standard dice, a maximum of 3 times. If the player rolls a pair of ones, they lose at any point. If they roll another pair, they win. But if they don't achieve a pair after 3 rolls, they lose. Okay, so let's work through these possibilities. We're after the probability that the player wins. So let's firstly think about some notation. Let A be pair of ones. So that's where you roll 2 ones. And the probability that A occurs is 1 out of 6 times 1 out of 6, because you need it in both die. Let B be any other pair. So probability of B, there's 5 such numbers that you can roll. That's not a 1 for the first die. Now the second die has to match. So that's we've got 5 possible opportunities in the first roll. Whatever we get, right, that's not a 1, then the second one just has to match. So that's 5 over 36 for event B. So how we want to think this through, and we can assign event C. Let C be not a pair. Right, so C is the complement of A and B, if you like. So the probability of getting any pair is 1 over 6. So probability of C equals 1 minus, 5 over 36 minus 1 over 36. That's the A and B. We can just add up those probabilities because they're mutually exclusive. So that's 1 over 6, that's 5 over 6. Okay. So now let's consider how the game can play out. There's only 3 rolls. Right, so a win can occur in the following ways. Win on first roll. That's going to be probability of B. That you roll once and you hit a pair that's not ones. So then there's a probability that you win on the second roll. For that to happen, you have to have had C on your first roll. You wouldn't have gotten to a second roll if you rolled any of the pairs. You'd either win or lose. And we've already counted the winning one. So that's your first roll. It's got to get P, probability of C. Now these rolls are independent, so you just multiply the probabilities. Then winning means that you roll a pair that's not ones, so PB. Then our third roll, again, we have to get PC on our first roll to get to our second roll. We then have to miss on our second roll and get PC again. And then finally, to win, we get another PB. Right, so you can work this out in actual numbers. That's 5 over 36. This is 5 over 6 times 5 over 36. This one is 5 over 6 times 5 over 6 times 5 over 36. Okay, so this becomes a calculator exercise now. Our winning total is then just the sum of these three probabilities. These events are mutually exclusive, and so you can just add up all of these probabilities. So the overall probability of a win, 5 over 36 plus 5 over 36 times 5 over 6 plus 5 over 36 times 5 over 6 times 5 over 6. And you can go and figure this one out on a calculator. I'm just going to figure it out to whatever decimal approximation it turns out to be. Right. When you actually plug in the numbers to this problem, you'll find that this turns out to be 0.351 1, right, to 4 decimal places, which is good enough for me.